Good afternoon, everybody. This is the session we're going to be looking at installation tools, equipment. Got two of the best known brands in the UK here to talk about what they do, how they can help with the installation of very large format tiles. We're going to kick off with David Honeywell, who's representing Ruby, and he's going to explain the things they can do to make installation of large format tiles easier and more efficient.
Hi, thanks for the introduction. As it's been said, my name's Dave Honeywell and I'm the Managing Director of Ruby UK in Ireland. So what I want to do is a bit of an introduction about what Ruby's about before we move on to the main demonstration. So Ruby worldwide, we are the largest supplier of tile equipment in the world, followed by John Hardware Tools. I'm not even going to try and pronounce their first name, and then followed by our friends at Montolit. So Ruby was first created in 1951. It's still a family-owned business, and we're built on the basis of score and snap. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that sort of process. We use the two-rail system. It's still family-owned, and still based. Ruby's actually named after a place in Spain where the family grew up. Ruby's in now in about 135 countries, and we have main subsidiaries like the UK and Ireland, which I'm responsible for, as well as Canada, America, Mexico, France, Spain, Portugal, Holland, Germany, Poland, and also China. Hope I haven't missed anyone out. One thing at Ruby UK and Ireland we're really passionate about is the fact we've got real national coverage. Now, this isn't some extract from some dodgy website. And we actually have got some of the reps here today. These are the reps that we have in the UK and Ireland. These are guys, they're not sales reps, they're technical reps, and they provide information, give demonstrations, and basically some support. And it's something we're really quite passionate about. So, what are XXL tiles? Well, they're porcelain tiles ranging from in size from 1.2 metres by 1.2 metres to 1.6 to 3.2. And I did notice there's one right at the beginning which is slightly larger than that. But we can still cut them, it's not a problem. And what thicknesses do they come in? Well, they come in between 6 and 9 mil. And a lot of them have a fibre mesh in the back. And that's the way for when you break them, it just doesn't drop on the floor. A little bit of easing and they break a lot easier. And what sort of applications can it be used on? Obviously walls, floors, and in the fabrication business, so making wash basins, worktops, large tables, you name it, they can be used in it. It's a lovely product, and as you walk around today, you'll see lots of demonstrations of that. So the manual method of cutting up large format tiles. Now, I've gone with the slim cutter, but it's worth mentioning that we have some manual tile cutters that score snap, like the TZ 1800. Now this is tile cutters 1.8 metres long. So if your tile is only 1.6 or 1.2, you could still use this type of method rather than some of the demonstration methods that I'm talking about today. So the G3, well, it is score and snap. It works on a suction cut basis of with some guides. It has the scoring carriage, and it has some reinforced guides. Makes it nice and easy. And I do have a video later on, and it's probably a lot easier if I actually sort of talk through the video to explain what it's all about. And here's a couple of photographs of some guys using it. As you can see here, I'm trying to turn without losing the voice connection. You can see using the carriage along there for the scoring. The TC125. Now, this is the electric method of cutting tiles. It works with almost like a circular saw. It uses either a 115 blade or 125 blade. And this product, if you're a generalist rather than a large format cutter, it's a product that you can use in different areas. And And what happens, if, for example, there's a lot of 20mm porcelain landscape layers, and what they tend to do is, as it comes on the rail system, is that they overlay their porcelain tiles and then connect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however they number they need on the rail, and then cut it in one pass, one continuous pass on the. You do need 3 cuts on it to make sure because of the height, but one pass. And the basis of that is that you know that cut will be perfect every single time because it's one continuous. However, we're not talking about 20mm today. We're talking about large format. So it can be used wet and dry. You can do mitre cuts, and it's a great machine. It really is. So here's a couple of photographs of using it mitred with the wet cutter and dry with the dust extraction system. So what are the advantages and disadvantages over electric and versus manual? Well, the manual is very quick and it's certainly a lot cleaner. The disadvantages, sometimes there can be deviations on a very glossy tile. You can only cut in straight lines. You definitely can't do mitre cuts. You can only do dry cuts, and they will be razor sharp when it happens. So if any of you are tilers, you know that cutting porcelain by scoring snap is razor sharp. So you do need to use a polishing pad to smooth the edges off. So compared to that, what's the advantages of the TC125? So this is the electric way of cutting. Well, there's wet and dry cutting options. You can cut L shapes. And when you talk about L shapes, it's imperative to remember that when you cut an L shape, is you need to drill a hole first in the tile. And the reason you do this is to release the tension of the tile. Now, it can either be a 6mm or even a 28mm hole that you decide to cut. But you need to drill the hole first, then you can do your cutting. You know, you might say, well, Dave, I cut it all the time and it's no problem. And it might be fine today. It might be fine tomorrow. Next week, it could be a hairline crack. And if you've got an unhappy customer and you've got bookmarked tiles, it's going to be a really big issue. Just make the cut. It's so easy. And it's going to be a perfect cut every time. Disadvantages, it is slower. It is more dusty and wet. And if it's cut dry, sometimes it can be a little bit more chippy. So levelling. Now, there's 2 ways that you can do levelling. One's the wedge system, and the other's the cyclone system. Now, my colleagues know I love the cyclone, so I try not to wax too lyrical later on a bit. But the delta system uses a wedge, and it avoids lippage. And what's lippage? Well, lippage is where the point where if you run your finger over a tile or a spacer, you can tell that it's not level. At the end of the day, you want level tiles. Used on tiles that are 12 inch by 12 inch. It's easy to use. It's an impact removal system, and I'll show you later on what we mean by that. The uses pliers, and the wedges are reusable. Available from 0.5mm joints up to 5mm, and for tiles from 3mm to 20mm thick. As promised, cyclone. Now, it's fair to say that tilers generally prefer the wedge system and landscapers prefer the spin system. However, you will get people in both camps that want to digress. There's no tools, it's very quick and easy, and it's just so easy to use. The caps are reusable, and it's a really, really great product. Even a non-tiler like myself can use them. Available from 1.1mm to 5mm joints, and from tiles from 3mm up to 20mm. The triller. Now, the triller is not really a leveling system or a cutting system, but it's imperative to use something like this. And what a triller does is it's a vibrating plate that gets rid of air bubbles in the adhesive when you put it on the tile. And you literally just move it across, back and forth, and it alleviates any air. Because in the day, this is all about adhesion of the tile to the wall, and you can't have air in it. We are getting a battery operated one shortly. Ruby is in partnership with Metabo, who use the CAS battery system, and so you won't even have the issue of leads very shortly. It's worth remembering that are not a professional tiler, and we didn't want to have a professional corporate video. This is myself and one of my reps doing an installation of how we would use these tools. And if we can use them, you certainly can. So without stepping on Jason's toes, we do have a handling system here, and this is our heavy-duty trans system. It's worth remembering that large format tiles they're not self-supporting, aka if you lifted them up with your hands, they would break. This is why you need these type of systems. Now you can see this system here works on suction cups. As you can see, Sam's younger and more handsome than I am, but age isn't kind to any of us now. So we see this is on. And this is on our new versatile table, available at great stockists. And this new table is the advantage. You can move them up and down, and you can move the rails forward and back. It's great for any cut, really. And it's brand new. So now we're going to do a dry cut using the slim cutter G3. You can see that we've got some rails here. Now these rails are 1.3 meters in length, and you can have as many as you want. So obviously for this example, we've just got 3 of them, so it's 3.3 meters long. Works nice and easy, in nice shiny red ruby colours. Works with an Allen key, joins itself together, and you use the suction cups to adhere it down onto the surface of the large format tile. You do need to allow, in your calculations for measurements, an additional 20 mil, because that's the distance between the carriage system and the guides. And then Sam's proven here he knows he had used a tape measure. Rubi do sell tape measures as well, available again at great stockists. And then simply move the guide up to the mark. Fasten down with the suction cups. Now using the carriage system. Now the carriage system's got a 22 mil titanium steel disc. It's just almost like a children's train set score. And now using the manual breakers. You have the extra option. It's an extra tough tile to tighten down to get the additional strength on it. But using the breakers, you literally just break the tile off. And jobs are good 'un. Nice and easy. Lovely, lovely straight cut. Now, as I mentioned earlier, these tiles are sharp, and I hope you're all impressed with my lovely polishing action there. Using a diamond polish pad just to take the edge of the tile off, sharpens the tile away. Lovely cut, if I do say so myself. So now we're going to move on to the electric way of cutting tiles. And this also works on a similar type of rail system. The TC125 is available in 2 30 volt as well as 110 volt. Once again, using suction cups, but in this case, the suction cups are actually fitted onto the side of the rail rather than being included in it. It's attachable by an Allen key, as you can see. And once again, you do need to leave a distance away from the rail to make sure it's a perfect measurement. As you can see, Sam's attaching the clamps underneath. And the important thing to remember about the TC125 is that the height is adjustable as well. We're using the dust extraction system we have here. Now Rubi has a new M-class dust extraction system called the Clear, for obvious reasons, and that's what we're using here. If we wasn't using that, the whole screen would be covered in dust. Certainly with the invention of silicosis, we need to make sure that we look after our tutters. So you can see I finished off with the TC125, and now we're going to use the Slim Easy Trans Plus to lift these tiles up. Once again, uses suction cups. Now, a large format tile is usually about 30 kilograms, and with adhesive it'll be a bit more. Obviously, depending upon the wick thickness and if you apply adhesive to it. You can use the slab trolley to move it out of the way before we actually get to the installing part. It's times like this I wish I was a bit taller and had longer arms, but such is life. So we're now back buttering the tile. Now, why would you want to back butter a tile? Well, it's to basically gain the extra adhesion that you need onto the tile. Now, we're using a 3mm notch trowel here to do this. Obviously, there's lots of great adhesive manufacturers out there, and I'm not going to recommend one over the other, not unless they cross my hand with silver. Now we're using a YW trowel. Now, a YW trowel, or other people call it a target trowel, is different to a normal notch trowel in the length of the notches, and they're actually shaped like Ys and Ws, hence the name. And the advantage of this is that when you place a tile onto the wall or the floor, the Ys fit into the Ws, and it folds into itself, particularly when you use a triller. And in the day, when you place these tiles on the wall, it's all about maximum adhesion. So using the Slim Easy Trans Plus again, manoeuvring the tiles around. It's worth remembering we're not professional tilers. We just do great products. Releasing the suction cups. Perfectly placed tile. Now we're going to show you the levelling systems. Now it's imperative you don't get any adhesive up the strip, as that would affect the breaking point. These tiles spaces, tile levelers are designed to have weak points in them. So there's delta going in, and now cyclone wedge on spin. Now we use the 3mm in this case, but British standard is 5mm. Now Sam's going to use the triller. And the reason, like I said earlier, they use the triller is to make sure there's no air pockets behind the tile at all. Like I said, there will be a battery-operated version very shortly. Now, in true Blue Peter style, here's one we prepared earlier with another tile. I promise you there's more adhesion, more adhesive on the tile than me, but it is quite a close thing at this point. And then placing the tile. The official tap is optional, but it obviously does help. And it's stopped again. So this is a tile gap closer. Now, I describe this machine as a get out of jail card free. Uses suction cups again, and simply just attach it to the two tiles using suction cups, and by using the adjustable mechanisms at the end, you can bring them either closer or further apart. By using the mechanism on the top, you can make them closer or higher away from the surface. It makes life a lot very, very easy. So now, after this, Sam's going to apply the two types of levelling. So you can see here an example of lippage. So this is where the tiles are at two different heights, and you can see the fact that they're not quite the same level at the moment. So using the fast fix pliers with Delta, you can make sure it's nice and level. And it's worth remembering that this does not bring these tiles away from the surface. We've practiced with glass tiles, and we know this for a fact. And this is Cyclone, nice and easily, just spin it on, and it's level to tile. You can see it actually leveling up if you look really closely at the video. See here now, no lippage, so it'll be a happy customer. And to break them off, always remember to hit in the direction of the grout line. Job's a good one.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next part, we have Jason Smith, who's representing Brevetti Montolit, who's going to give his take on the installation, the tools required for effective, fast, efficient installation of XXL format tiles.
Yeah, so good afternoon, Ruby. It's always a pleasure to do a Montolit presentation to Ruby, so this is going to be a first anyway. Actually, it's good to follow Ruby because, you know, Ruby have set the standard really for the UK tiling market over the last 20-25 years, and most other tiling tool manufacturers have followed Ruby in their attempt to make the UK industry a bit more professional in their tiling products and tiling tools. So it's good to follow Ruby in that sense. So hello everyone, my name is Jason Smith. I represent Brevetti Montolit. Brevetti Montolit are an Italian tiling tool manufacturer based up in the north of Italy, near Varese, near the Swiss border. And they've asked me to come and speak to you about some of the products that they have today. Just noticing through David's presentation, there's going to be lots of similar types of products. But I think that's good because it means that we're all singing from the same hymn sheet, really. So once upon a time, life was pretty easy. I think the largest tile would be 30 by 30, and the adhesive would be a bucket of paste. But things changed. So what defies a large format tile? Well, originally for a large format, the industry spec was more than 60 centimeters. But now, as David said, an extra large tile can be from 1 to 3 meter in length. And one piece can actually exceed, 3 meters squared. They're normally made of porcelain, but they can be of a synthetic material. Always very strong, very durable, high abrasion resistant and high stain maintenance. And they seem to be getting thinner now. From my colleagues in Italy, they tell me that people are working on much thinner large format tiles, and they're working on things like 3 mil, which is just insane. So how did large format tiles evolve really? Well, manufacturing over the last 10 years got clever, in the factories especially. Demands from architects and designers changed. They wanted to work with larger format tiles. Building standards have improved, so there's better products to prepare substrates. Adhesive technology has definitely improved over the last 10 to 15 years, and this has led to companies like Ruby and Montolit becoming better equipped to produce products for the market. So the results of this change really are tile contractors, they have a choice really. If they want to just continue with normal tiling, up to a meter square in tile, or if they want to get into large format, and it can become a really specialist profession, and that's probably where the big money is. So not using the right equipment can cause an inability to do the job, obviously. Health and safety on site, you probably won't be allowed to do most of the things that you wanted to do if you haven't got this equipment. You can injure yourself. Your reputation as a company won't be great. And if you keep breaking some of these tiles, that is a huge dent in your profit. So what is the right equipment? So part of the brief was installation techniques, and this is very similar to the Rubi products. It's a track cutting system, and this one's called the Montolit Flashline 3 kit, and it comes with three 3-meter rails, the push cutter, the splitting handle, and it has suction cup technology on the back of the rails. The train has 3 different scoring wheels, and the train is actually spring loaded. But that all depends if you've got the right tables as well. So you'll need the right tables to make the right cuts. So it's got to be level. And if we go on, the Flashline 3 here. So this is, as you can see, is a spring-loaded handle. So the handle actually fits the hand, and you push it down onto the rail and you push it along. After, like the Rubi one, you have a splitting tool which opens up the tile or the slab at both ends, and then you can carefully cut the tile by pushing down on the handle. So this is a quick video just to go through what the product actually does. So this is how the kit comes. So we have the 3 rail system, the splitter, and the cutter. See, on the back of the rails, there's a patented suction strip. That means that the rail won't actually move. And to fix the rails together, it's a slightly different method to Rubi, and we actually have a spring clip. And once they're together, they don't move. So we have 3 scoring wheels here. One's the delicate porcelain and glass, one is the porcelain and rough ceramic, and one is the porcelain and smooth ceramic. And just by using a coin, you can change what scoring wheel you need. That just tightens up. So to start, we press down a couple of times really, and then with a spring-loaded rail, we go all the way to the end. Pulling the slab away from the table to make the break. We can use the splitter, exactly the same as the Rubi one, to open up the slab on both ends. And with a little bit of pressure, that can cut the slab. And it's a very easy system to use. It took me a few goes, I must admit. But cutting large format is quite easy with that system. We also do a motorised version that sits on the same track called the Flashline 2. And this, like the Rubi version, has a vac to take the dust away, and this uses a dry cut wheel. And we also produce, like many of our competitors, wet cutting machines for larger format. Our largest wet cutting machine at the moment goes up to 181, but this one is called the F1 Brooklyn, and it also comes with adjustable legs, extendable table to the side, and the cutting application can be changed to create miter cuts on 45 degrees. And we do a wide selection of wet cutting blades as well, diamond blades. We also recommend to use polishing pads, either handheld or ones that can go onto the grinder. This one here is called the Fleximont, and it comes in 3 different grades. And actually on the pads are diamonds, and it's actually flexible. So you can create smoothing or 45-degree angles or even mitering for that. And obviously, like many other manufacturers, we produce drill bits for making holes. So our holes range from sort of 6mm to 120mm bits. We also do milling points as well, so milling applications for making the hole bigger or just smoothing it off. And these go both on the drill and the grinder. So what about secure lifting? So we have a number of suction cup and rail systems that can help with transportation of the slab from the box to the table to the wall or the floor. So this one's called Superlift, and it comes basically with the rails, the suction cups, the corners as well. So it has corner protectors for the slab as well. So when you pick it up, stops you knocking it off the wall and damaging £200 worth of slab. So more suction cups can be added to this system as well. It normally comes with 4, but you can add extra suction cups. In fact, you can add as many as you want to, depending on how heavy or how big the actual slab is. And that's an overview of the kit. So it comes with the rails, the clips, and the wheels. And this is a transportation trolley. You know, again, very similar to the Ruby one there. And this can be adapted on both sides for easy handling of the slab. And we'll just show this again. We'll show this clip more clearly in a minute through a video. And this product is called the lift tile. Obviously, it's got the name on the side. And this can be operated by one person. And this can lift the slab into any position. So here's an example of how high it can actually lift the slab. And this can achieve up to 2.4 meters high. And this is an example of the different positions that it can adopt. So if there's a difficult position on site, it can actually come in through the side and put the tile on the wall from one side. And this is just an example of the different positions that the lift tile can go to and how far it can push. So 1.47 meters is how far it can extend, but this depends on how much weight you have at the back. It helps with having the correct weight required, otherwise everything goes over. So on this video here, we're just going to show you in action some of the products that I've just spoken about. So again, this is the lift tile here. As you can see, one person is using that to push it around. It's quite heavy, but it makes life easier if you are on your own on site, that you can actually use one piece of equipment to lift it. This is the Superlift. Again, very similar to our competitors' products with the rail system, the rails and the suction cups. As you can see, they're pumping the suction cup to achieve the correct pressure. So if the pressure gauge went down, you can just quickly put that back up. This comes with wheels as well. so you can very quickly transport the slab across to the position you need it in. And obviously we also recommend that adhesive is applied to the back of the slab or the tile to get 100% coverage. And very similar to David's, this is the way that the slab is applied to the wall. So this is our transportation trolley. Again, very similar to our competitors' products. Makes life a lot easier transporting the slab across the site. I think we use both ways. So you can change it round and hang the slab on the handles there as well. But we also do individual suction cups as well. And these can be used for large format tiles or heavy tiles. Again, using the same suction and pump suction system. And just moving on to the application, obviously we saw in the Rubi presentation the correct way to apply the tile to the wall. And when the slab is on the wall, you can use this product called a lifter, which actually secures the slab into the right place. And if you need to slightly lift it, you've actually put it in to the adhesive, but it's slightly too low, you can actually lift that and it can hold the tile in place while the adhesive is curing. So as David mentioned, you know, we think also that 100% adhesive coverage is essential, and that the slab and the tile should always be back buttered, and this will of course avoid voids. I showed a ready mix adhesive earlier, right at the start, and the reason why you couldn't use ready mixed is because it dries from the inside. So a large format tile would mean that the adhesive would never really dry. But I've just become aware that there's a company in Belgium and Holland who've actually now manufacture a ready mixed tile adhesive, which is designed for extra large tiles. And this dries exactly the same way as a powder. And the benefit of this is that you don't need to mix the adhesive, just comes straight out the bucket, so it can speed up application on site. Obviously, mixing the adhesive can take some time. And like the Triller, we also have our own vibrating system. This is a vibrating suction cup called the Brevetti Pro. And again, it's designed to make sure that there's 100% adhesive coverage by vibrating the tile as much as it can do into the adhesive. And finally, we have a similar product for joint alignment. Again, this one, if you're slightly out, and once the slab is into the adhesive, it can be difficult to move it. So this product brings the two slabs together to create the correct joint that width that you require. And that's about it from me. All information about Montolit is on montolit.com, or please contact me for more information. Thank you very much.
How do you prove that the air comes out when you're using these various vibrating systems?
Well, we've tried it on a slab of glass.
Right.
So it's very similar to...
And you watched it tracking out?
Yeah, it definitely works. I mean, you know, probably a similar thing to the Rubi product. It does do about a metre squared area at a time, so you can see the adhesive actually, you know, breaking the ribs across the actual tile or the glass in this case. And you can see you're getting the 100% coverage that you need.
Do you both use the same frequency of vibration, or is there a frequency that works?
I wouldn't know what the frequency of the vibration is, but yeah, it's quite yeah, it's quite strong. It's quite strong, people see.
And the other thing that struck me is, are there any tiles which are too textured for these suction clips to work properly?
Yeah, I mean there are tiles out there which that could cause difficulty. I know Montolit in Italy tried to work with some of the Italian manufacturers to make sure that what they're producing can be actually applied to the wall and cut. I think it's a matter of working together. I'm sure Ruby do the same with the Spanish manufacturers in Spain. So.
The reason I ask you, having just come back from Clerkenwell, and there are lots of these three-dimensional stone effects, and they're hitting the market in a big way. And you're just looking at it and thinking, wow, what kind of suction cup's going to be able to get around that?
We asked the manufacturer for guidance on that case. If they produce that tile, they should know how to put it on the wall.
It's a common theme, though, isn't it? The production of tiles races ahead of the installation technology, and then you guys have got to come up with a solution to something because it's on the market.
Yeah, I mean that's why it's good for manufacturers to work with the tiling tool companies like Ruby and Montolit, because they need to be they need to be put up or put down onto the floor. So if that equipment to make that happen is not available, then no one's actually going to install them.
Well, thank you very much, guys, and I appreciate you being here.